What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to show you how to set up the DCS6T 70V drop ceiling tile speaker. This speaker itself fits into any standard 2-foot by 1-foot drop ceiling, which makes for an easy install, but we're going to circle back to that in a bit. Now because this is a 70V speaker, I'm going to quickly explain how 70V systems work. 70V amplifiers allow you to run a large amount of speakers off that 1 amp, so you could run over 100 speakers off that amplifier as long as you match the watts being drawn by the speakers to the ability of the amp. We can do this by tapping each speaker to a specific wattage amount. So for example, if my amplifier can handle more than 100 watts of power, I can tap each speaker at 10 watts, giving me the ability to run 10 speakers. There's also multi-zone amplifiers that open up the flexibility of where you can control the audio and how you want to have it set up in your space. But the same principles apply, so you'll want to match the tapped wattage of your speakers to the recommended wattage amount of each zone. And from there you can have independent volume control of each zone, which is a big plus. If you want to learn more about 70V technology, check out our video on what is 70V. So one of the first things we can do to set up our speaker is attach the speaker wire inside. To do that, we're going to remove this panel here on our speaker by using a screwdriver and loosening this screw here on top and this screw here on the side. So after that, I can lift the panel up like so, which will reveal the terminals inside of the speaker. What's also really cool is that this is a Euroblock terminal here, so we can just remove it like so. And from here, we can have an easier time plugging in our speaker wire. So we're first going to want to open up the terminals by loosening these flathead screws on top of the terminal here with a flathead screwdriver. Now from here you'll see that there are 2 sets of positive and negative terminals. For now we're only going to worry about the first positive and the first negative terminal. So next we can take some speaker wire. Now if you're planning on running it along the ceiling for your setup, we recommend using some CL rated CL2 speaker wire, which we have plenty of available on our website. So we're going to plug one end of the speaker wire into the first positive and negative terminal here on the Euroblock. And you'll see on the speaker wire itself that one side has text while the other is blank. Now it doesn't matter which one you plug into the positive terminal and which one you plug into the negative terminal. Just keep in mind which side goes where so you can plug that other end into the positive and negative terminal of your amp. So for example, I'm going to take the side of the wire with the text on it and plug it into the positive terminal on my block. So I'll want to be sure that the same side goes into the positive terminal of my amp. So now we have another positive and negative terminal that we can use to expand our setup even further with additional speakers. So if I wanted to run additional speakers, I can take another set of speaker wire, plug one end into the available positive and negative terminal here, then take the other end and plug it into the first available positive and negative terminal of your next speaker. For today, we're going to go for a single speaker setup, so we're going to leave it as is for now. So once you have your wiring set up, you can take the Euroblock and plug it back into the speaker. Then we're going to attach the panel back onto the speaker, but before we do that, we're going to take the other end of our speaker wire that's running to the amp and feed it through the hole here of this panel. So after that, we can line the panel back up to our speaker and make sure to line up the screw holes of the panel to the screw holes of the speaker. So then we're going to take the screws that we took out before and run them through the holes here and screw the screws in to secure the panel to the speaker. From here, we're going to take the other end of our speaker wire and run that to our amplifier. And like I mentioned before, we can run the speaker wire along the ceiling back down to the amp. So after we've wired our speaker, we can then tap it to whatever wattage amount would be best for our setup, depending on how many speakers we want in our setup and how much power we want to draw from our amp. On this speaker, we can access the tap right on this dial here on the side. Now we have a few different options here, so we can either tap the speaker at 1.5 watts, 2.5 watts, 5 watts, or 10 watts. And we even have an 8 ohm tap, so we can use the speaker with a standard receiver. For today, we're going to tap the speaker at 10 watts, so it's drawing the most power from the amp. Again, you can check out our video on what is 70V to use the wattage tap with multiple speakers in your setup. So once we have our speaker all set up, we can then drop it into our ceiling. First thing you'll want to do is take the ceiling tile out of your ceiling. Then we're going to take the speaker itself and drop it into that space. But because the measurements are 2 by 1 foot, we recommend using a support rail in the middle of your speaker and your ceiling tile. So you're going to take the support rail and put that in the middle of your space. After that, you're going to take the original speaker tile and cut it in half and drop that into the opposite side of your speaker. You can also have a setup where you place your speaker in the middle. Then from there, we can cut the original ceiling tile into pieces that are going to fill the edges. but also be sure you have support rails to fit in between each space. Then from there, we can finish our setup by taking the speaker wire from our speaker, run it along the inside of our ceiling, then plug the other end into your amplifier. We have a speaker set up in our conference room, so let's head over there to hear how the speaker sounds. Alright guys, so here we are in the conference room. We have our speaker set up right above us here, and as you can see, we have it set up right in the middle of these two tiles here. And then we took the wire coming out of the speaker and we ran it all the way down to the amp here. So now I have my phone connected to the amp through Bluetooth, so I'm gonna play some music so we can hear how the speaker sounds. Alright, here we go. Nice. So far so good. You're hearing all the crispiness of that high end. Alright, I'm waiting for the song to drop. Oh yeah. Sounds great with all the low end in there. Nice. Really, really cool. Yeah. Now if you wanted to set up even more DCS6T speakers, you're just gonna follow the same exact steps. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your DCS6T 70V drop ceiling tile speakers. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.